So guys, this is what Wike is afraid of. The weight Peter Obi pulled in 2023 in Abuja. Wike is scared of that influence again. They know that the Peter Obi's effect is very powerful in Abuja. Now Wike is taking steps to make sure that the election is rigged in the FCT. We know that Wike was seen in a video saying he will make sure the APC candidate wins in the FCT, that he owes nobody an apology. Guys, Wike boldly said that he doesn't owe anybody any apology. Now Wike is taking steps to make sure that this election is rigged. He has placed coffee. He has made it that there won't be movement in the FCT, and now Senator Ireti is raising alarm that they've never seen such a thing in the FCT. Wike is now the minister. He's bringing strange policies in the FCT. Now let me read out this headline for you, just for you to see what's saying. This headline here says Wike and Telecom are planning to shut down network in FCT to sabotage electronic result transmission in Saturday's poll. Guys, this is what we are saying about the newly signed bill into law by Tinubu. They want to sabotage the network so that they will say this is why results were not transmitted electronically. Wike wants to, alter results like what we saw in Rivers State in the last election. Now Senator Kingibe is all over the places, telling the world what is happening in the FCT. I'm going to allow you to take a look at the video, but see the headline here. This one says the FCT minister cannot wake up and decide that nobody should move around in FCT without any explanation. Senator Ireti Kingibe, senator representing the FCT, speaking on coffee imposed in the FCT ahead of council election. Wike has imposed coffee in the FCT, guys. Wike doesn't want people to move around so that he can use the police and rewrite the result sheets like they did in Obiakpo, they did in Rivers State. Now this person say, why is Minister Wike preventing the ADC from moving around after 8 p.m.? This is the first time in the history of Abuja. Why is the APC afraid of people of the FCT? Why are you terrified? So this is the first time they are having this kind of policy. Wike is saying no movement because Wike knows that if people are guiding the materials, if people are around to make sure that the materials are not sneaked out, like we know what they can do. The INEC officials are ready to sneak out some of the result sheets, and you see that results will be written tomorrow, even before the election commences. That is what Wike is now doing. He has placed coffee so that people will go into their houses and sleep, and then all the manipulation will just happen. So guys, this is what is happening, and Kingibe, senator, is raising alarm that Wike has placed a coffee that since the FCT came into existence, that they've not had anything like this. Guys, what is happening in Nigeria? Wike, every place is Wike. This man does not care about the legacy he's leaving behind. Now I'm going to allow you to listen to what Senator Kingibe said in this video, guys, but it is very, very so sad that they also how far Peter Obi and Dr. Mo and even Aisha Yusufu, them, how these people, campaigned in the FCT. They saw that the people are on the side of Peter Obi and Dr. Mo. Now Wike is taking the step to rig the election in the FCT by placing coffee in the state, and also, like you can see, this headline is saying that he wants to use the network providers, to sabotage network so that they can say they cannot transmit electronically. And that is why we are saying the clause that is in that electoral bill that Tinubu quickly signed into law remains the biggest challenge Nigeria is going to face in the next election. So guys, let me allow you to take a look at this and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification for more. Thank you.
That the FCT minister has a power to impose
if there are security issues, the FCT minister cannot wake up and decide he picks a day and say nobody should move around in FCT without any explanation.
So you're against the preventive measure that a government and authority within the city says to avoid any kind of violence or insecurity ahead of the election, so people can move freely. You are against such
It's like
measure.
saying you're arresting me to prevent me from stealing in case I want to.
Is this a case of arrest?
No, because you are saying to prevent any kind of violence. FCT is not known for violence during elections. It's not our style. Show me how many of it you've seen. Maybe primaries, but definitely not any sort of elections.
Why are you accusing the minister of authoritarian tendency? Are you accusing the minister of deliberately undermining democracy?
Of course, it is clear. Every organization, even regular people, if you go on anywhere, you hear people complaining. People have sent me texts, ECOWAS parliamentarians, that, are you just having only local government elections? What's this? We go to other countries. He doesn't also understand. It makes us look bad. So many people are coming in here to say, oh, we can't move around. We have to say, what's going on? Oh, they're having local government elections. Have there been any problems? No. Even during the campaign, fighting on
With a curfew imposed by FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, authorities say the political atmosphere appears calm. However, stakeholders insist security remains critical to electoral credibility. At separate briefings in Abuja, the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room and the Center for Transparency and Advocacy reviewed final preparations. FCT Resident Electoral Commissioner Aminu Idris says INEC has deployed additional collation officers and displayed the voters' register across polling units ahead of the vote.
And then total number of ad hoc staff. Well, the ad hoc staff, we are looking at about 11,873 PU officials. Then we have 282 supervisory presiding officers. That's the SPOs. We have 68 rack managers. So there are other INEC staff also deployed, like we have 68 LGA supervisors.
The Situation Room says the declaration of a work-free day movement restrictions from 8 p.m. Friday to 6 p.m. Saturday has generated confusion, citing inconsistencies with earlier police announcement.
Of utmost concern is the trend of candidates and their political parties stepping down. Such late-stage withdrawals, often cited as strategic realignment, strips the electorate of free choices and dampen the competitive spirit of the polls.
The amended law, in its current form, fell short of the minimum standard required to guarantee credible, free, fair, and credible elections.
The executive director of the Center for Transparency and Advocacy, Faith Nwadishi, warns voters against vote trading.
Now they have added additional safeguard that if the total number accredited on the BVAS is not the total number recorded on the result sheet, that thing will not go.
For those of us who live in a FCT, we are going to bear the brunt of either a flawed election or we are going to benefit from an election that fully reflects the choice of the people.
Stakeholders agree that while security must deter criminal element, it should not intimidate law-abiding voters.
Well, for more on the FCT preparedness for the elections, I'm now being joined by Samuel Bassi. He's the HOD Voter Education and Publicity for FCT INEC. Thank you so much for joining us on the news tonight.
Thank you for having me.
You know, it's a very busy time for INEC at this time. We're counting hours to the opening of the polls in the capital city. Well, let me begin by asking you, because I'm sure a lot of Nigerians are interested. The 2026 Electoral Act came into force barely 48 hours ago. Quite a number of changes were made. One wonders if INEC even have you had the time to look at the 2026 Electoral Act, and if you are going to be abiding by that act as you're supposed to for tomorrow's elections?
Yeah, activities are regulated by the law, and definitely whatever law that subsists, kind of will be guided by that. And for the Electoral Act, I believe a legal department is looking into it and the implications as regards the elections. Whatever it is, we are guided by laws in the implementation of activities.
Is it any source of concern to the electoral body that the time frame of this act or this law coming into place and this very crucial FCT election?
Well, yeah, it's a concern because of the time factor, which is quite short here. Like what I said earlier, our legal department looking into the provisions and how we can, tweak our activities to be in line with the new provisions of the Act.
We understand there are over 2,000 polling units, about 2,822 for the elections tomorrow. They are meant to open 8:30 a.m. Can you guarantee the residents of the FCT that all those polling units will be opening at the same time tomorrow? Or are there any likely challenges you're foreseeing already?
Not really. As we speak, a whole lot of activities at the local government, getting men and materials to the racks where they will be camped overnight to address the issue of late commencement of these things. with the RAC initiative that the commissioner has put in place, I think significantly address, if not eliminated, delay in the commencement of this of poll on election day. So I fully guarantee and assure citizens, voters in FCT that poll will commence 8:30, as stipulated by our guidelines.
Well, we'll hold you to that tomorrow. We'll be watching. This one concerns you directly for voter education. You're the HOD of the department. We've seen quite the low turnout when it comes to elections generally in the country, but in the FCT even more disappointing. For 2022 was an average of 9%. Some wards barely recording 1% showing up. What do you think is responsible for that generally? I mean, if you've done your research.
Well, a number of factors responsible. Well, some people register where they work, and during elections, kind of live far away from, kind of where the polling units are. It's also a factor. And for this category of people, we always educate them to change the location of their polling unit or registration point during the continuous voter registration. There's always a window for transfer of voting points. So we advise them during such a window to change their registration point to where is closest to them so that they can easily move out to exercise their franchise, appreciating the fact that there's restriction on vehicular movement on election day. And there are other set of people that voters are not interested in the process at all. So for such set of people, you need to educate them about the benefit of participation, the enormity of the power of your PVCs and the benefit if they participate. A whole lot of voter education is needed here to get the people interested in this and encourage participation to address the issue of apathy, at the poll.
Well, we are seeing 106,000 new voters collected their PVCs ahead of this election tomorrow. Do you think that's a sign of renewed interest in the system, or just routine registration to have my PVC as a form of identification?
Well, it's a combination of both, actually. I've done in the minds of the voters. But, to a large extent, shows renewed interest in the process.
Are you ready for these additional numbers that we have recorded?
Certainly, yes, of course. We have the capacity. We have the experience. We have everything that places us in a good state, to handle and conduct the elections tomorrow.
Let's speak about the elephant in the room. The most important question is the end process of any election is the results, the declaration of it. But also the process is important, the collation. And that's always been the biggest challenge. Even in this new law that we had, we saw the controversies trailing it. INEC is now bound by the 2026 law, which says you must mandatorily transmit the election results electronically. Are we going to see that tomorrow in the FCT, or do you have your form EC8A as the main form you're going to use tomorrow? What are we likely to see from INEC tomorrow?
Well, transmission of results has always been an in thing.
No, but not legal. Now it's legal.
Well, it's
you're
legal,
mandated to do it.
Now, we've been doing that, and that's what that will transfer tomorrow. A result will be transmitted at the end of collation. At the end of voting at the polling unit to the RF. And ever since we've been doing that, and going forward for the elections, the results will be transmitted.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr.
At some point in this bulletin, tomorrow, Saturday, February the 21st, 2026, is Elections Day in Abuja, Nigeria's federal capital territory. The 6 municipal council areas will be in full public purview as eligible voters turn out to choose their preferred chairman and councillors. The issue of security of the vote and the voting public is being considered paramount in tomorrow's exercise. And for more on what must be done to defend the integrity of that vote, we're now being joined by Senator Ireti Kingibe, the senator who represents the Federal Capital Territory in the National Assembly. Good to have you with us.
Good afternoon.
Very good.
I'm glad to be here.
Indeed. Now, Senator, How prepared is the FCT for tomorrow's municipal council elections in terms of security and logistics?
Well, that is a statement that a question that only the government can answer. But from my observations, I think everything is ready, both security and logistics. Members of the different area council followed the materials yesterday, so we know the materials have arrived. Everything seems to be on track.
And Senator, what specific measures are in place Sorry to interrupt. Please go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but what gives the residents of the FCT great concern right now is the fact that for the first time in the history of FCT, we are all prevented from moving around after 8 o'clock, effectively putting a curfew on us. And we do not understand why. It's never been necessary before. Lots of people need to do little bits and pieces. And this is a democracy. There's no reason to infringe on our democratic rights without compelling reasons. Curfews are usually imposed when you have serious security breaches, and there have been none. So we're a little confused about why this is happening. This is the only medium of speaking to the minister is through the media. So maybe when he hears my concerns and not just my concern, I speak on behalf of the people, most of the people of the FCT. This curfew, they don't understand, they're confused, and they feel that it is not right, that it is the usual imperial and autocratic way of how they have been administered to date. And that is something I would like the minister to address. It's a problem for the FCT.
Fair enough. And we know that there are measures in place to ensure the safety of voters and electoral officials across the 6 area councils. You've expressed that this curfew is not very comfortable. Are you aware of any other efforts in place to ensure the safety of voters and electoral officials?
Yes, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of policemen have come out, more than we've ever seen in any local government election. That should be enough. If you put them all out on the streets tomorrow, it would look like we're in a state of war. That's still fine. But why we cannot move around the evening before is what we do not understand.
All right, Senator, are you confident that INEC is fully ready to conduct a free, fair and credible elections in Abuja?
Well, all I can say is that I hope that INEC is ready for the free, fair elections. FCT is FCT. And we have a lot of observers, embassies, enlightened electorate. So chances are, and that's the reason that the curfew bothers us, is because why is it necessary? Maybe there's some nefarious activities that need to take place the evening before, why people cannot be on the streets. But other than that, I think everything is fine, ready for the elections, but we really, really object to that curfew. It's totally unnecessary and an infringement on our rights.
Could you speak on the mechanisms that exist to prevent vote buying, intimidation, or manipulation at the polling units?
Usually, if you look at, especially let's take AMAC, which is my local government, the electorate are mostly civil servants, educated people like me and you, and not very amenable to vote buying. Maybe if you go to the interior possibly. So this local government that has 50% of Abuja's votes, it has always been difficult to buy their votes, always, in every election. And if you look at the records, it will show that that's the way it's always been.
Indeed, Senator. Now, given...
everybody's prepared. All the parties are all ready.
All right.
Sorry. Continue.
Okay, right. I was going to ask, given concerns about voter apathy in local government elections over time, so what message do you have for residents of the FCT?
Well, I think it would be fairly true to say that this particular election will see a much larger voter turnout than we usually see, for many, many, many reasons. which I won't go into now. So that's the reason why we are all certain that whoever wins. What they do after the results at the polls, that's a different matter. But manipulating the votes at the polls has always been extremely difficult.
Yeah. Well, Senator, how important...
For INEC. And...
Go ahead.
I'm listening.
No, you go ahead.
No, even the other local governments. Local government is very personal to the communities and to the people. So they also stand firm on their choices. But we will see what happens.
And Senator, how important are these?
My prediction is that different parties will win across.
Yeah.
Pardon?
I was wondering how important the council elections are in shaping governance and service delivery, especially at the grassroots level.
Well, they're supposed to be important. INEC, for instance, is the largest local government in Nigeria. The appropriation for INEC alone monthly, it compares to many states. So it should be working for the people, but it has not been to date because of the caliber of local government chairmen we're getting. So this election, FCT people are taking more interest in the kind of people we're electing to manage those funds. So we shall see what happens.
And Senator, earlier you mentioned the how difficult it is to invoke vote buying in parts of the FCT when it comes to elections such as this. But what role should security agencies play, and how do we ensure that they remain neutral, you think?
In some places, especially in the interior parts, they should look for children voting. Also, manipulations at the collation centers. Those are the places where you can actually fiddle with the votes a little bit. But generally at the polling units, Abuja voters are very, very protective of their votes. And for a lot of especially Amakambuari, it's very difficult to actually manipulate at the polling units. You can probably try and buy agents, but not this time around. This election is very, very important to FCT. We're taking it personally. And so it's fine. It should be all right. But the locking us all up away at 8 p.m., that is a problem. And really the main reason I came out here is to convey that message to the Minister of FCT and to the government that this is a democracy. We are not in a state of war. We are just only going to vote for local governments. And I don't see why all of this is necessary. Thank you.
And if disputes do arise after the election, what's the proper channel for redress in order to protect the integrity of the entire process?
The usual way, go to the courts. But we also have started to lose trust in the judiciary. So I cannot tell you what each area council decides to do in some areas.
Governor of the FCT. Because so it seems
administers on behalf of the president.
Absolutely. So so it seems in the powers and the authority a minister of the FCT carries governing the FCT. So it looks like the 37th governor in Nigeria.
No, and there's president.
Yeah, I said it seems so in terms of the authority and the capacity in which the minister of the FCT plays. And you as the lawmaker representing the FCT, one will imagine that you should be close. And you are the legislature of the FCT, and he is the executive in the FCT. Is there something personal between both of you?
Considering before he came here, I'd never met him. It can't be. It's just his governance style. I have no personal issues with him. I just think that when elections are over, we should all go into governance mode, and it shouldn't matter what parties anybody belongs to. There are rules that guide our behavior. But that's aside. We're here to talk about this curfew. The truth of the matter is, if INEC is fully prepared, the security forces are all in place, what is the need for this draconian measure? There's no need.
You call it draconian?
Yes, 22-hour curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow, 22 hours, just because we're having local government elections. I've lived here for a very long time. This is the first time any minister has ever found it necessary. So it makes us wonder why such a measure is necessary. There's nothing that preceded anything. There's been no security issues. Nothing. If there had been any cause, it's understandable. None. Even when there were protests, they didn't put in 22-hour curfew, not to talk about just local government elections in the capital where embassies all are, high commissions, ECOWAS secretariat. A lot of people who are also forbidden to move around because we're going to go to elections tomorrow morning.
Now, so there are two things. Whether or not the FCT minister has the power to impose curfew is one thing. The second is whether you agree with the extent at which is exercising his powers. Or you do agree that the FCT minister has a power to impose
if there are security issues, the FCT minister cannot wake up and decide he picks a day and say nobody should move around in FCT without any explanation.
So you're against the preventive measure that a government and authority within the city says to avoid any kind of violence or insecurity ahead of the election so people can move freely. You are against such
It's like
measure.
saying you're arresting me to prevent me from stealing in case I want to.
Is this a case of arrest?
No, because you are saying to prevent any kind of violence. FCT is not known for violence during elections. It's not our style. Show me how many of it you've seen. Maybe primaries, but definitely not any sort of elections.
Why are you accusing the minister of authoritarian tendency? Are you accusing the minister of deliberately undermining democracy?
Of course, it is clear. Every organization, even regular people, if you go on anywhere, you hear people complaining. People have sent me texts, ECOWAS parliamentarians, that, are you just having only local government elections? What's this? We go to other countries. He doesn't also understand. It makes us look bad. So many people are coming in here to say, oh, we can't move around, we have to say, what's going on? Oh, they're having local government elections. Have there been any problems? No. Have even during the campaign, fighting and quarreling? None. So there's no cause.
Have you tried reaching the office of the minister for this purpose?
For this purpose, I can try, but don't bother anymore. All those letters, all the time he was telling you no rift, all the letters I wrote to him, did he respond to any? He is clearly, he doesn't want any checks and he doesn't even want advice. Forget checks and balances. I'm not the only person complaining. CSOs, you will see all the complaints. Everybody is telling me, Madam, what's going on? I said they should ask the minister. We've never had elections where, even general elections, national elections, they've never imposed curfews on us. I wonder what's going to happen in 2027. If for this small little election, we're having 22 hours. So what does that mean? Nobody can move from 8 p.m., even if the elections do not all night long, till tomorrow, all day tomorrow. People are going to go and vote. And he says it's a 22-hour curfew. Why is that necessary?
What do you think would be the most appropriate thing to do?
How is it? Why has it not been appropriate all these times and we've been having peaceful elections? Why is in his case he anticipates all this violence? Tell me. I mean, maybe there's something he knows.
If you were in the minister's shoes, how many hours curfew would you impose?
I would do what the norm, which is 7 a.m. to 3, which is when the elections are actually taking place. After 3 p.m., elections are still being collated, but people move around. That's been the norm always for every election, almost everywhere in this country. Why is this election different?
What do you suspect is going on?
I have no suspicions, but I suppose if I'm a minister and I'm planning serious nefarious activities, I would want everybody off the road.
And he needed that to...
Obviously, if he doesn't need it.
If your suspicion is maybe he had nefarious activities to conduct, he needed everyone off the road to...
Obviously, because INEC says there's no problem. We followed the materials. They've all gone to where they're supposed to go. No hitches. The security agencies are all prepared. No problems. Then...
So your grouse is overaction.
It's not overaction. Unnecessary and unfair to the people and residents of this FCT.
Are you agitated because you're in the opposition?
No.
And
even if I was APC, an APC senator, I would still say this is wrong. It is not fair on the people of the Federal Capital Territory.
The Electoral Act may be silent on movement restrictions, but security agencies routinely impose them during elections.
While the election is taking place, not the day before. They routinely impose them when the election is taking place. But this is the first time it's being imposed hours before the election.
Are you saying the minister lacks the legal authority entirely, or that he failed in consultation and process?
Both. I don't think that the minister can get up and for no reason. So once this passes, the next time the minister feels like it, he'll say, well, this Saturday and Friday, we've decided you cannot move around.
You think it's illegal?
It's not totally illegal if there's cause. There's no cause.
But what about if intelligence report advises so?
Which intelligence report? There's been no cause. Nobody's quarreled.
Maybe that you're not privy to. As the FCT minister, maybe he has security reports and briefings to the extent that for this election to happen.
Then he should have done due consultations with stakeholders. There are people in this place. He could have called all the party leaders. He could call lots of people to say, look, there's going to be a problem. We envision this. And for this reason, this, that, everybody will go back.
You've called for immediate suspension of the curfew. If security deteriorates, who bears the responsibility?
But there's no, unless he's planning it, there should be no reason. There are no indicators. Nobody wakes up and imposes curfew on any community when the people are peacefully going about their business. That's my point. If there were pockets of violence or anything, I can understand. There has been none. That I can categorically say. Yesterday, throngs of people in this town, hundreds of them. Nobody fought anybody. He did not impose a curfew to that. It's today when everybody's peacefully going about their business. He says, don't move around after 8. Well, we're watching. Whatever the case, all this only, what's the word? It only makes the people more upset with the government. Because, I'm sorry, this is not the way we expect to be governed democratically. If there's reason, people are protesting, people are quarreling, people are fighting, yes, we would all support the minister. But for no reason, absolutely not.
Dictatorship, authoritarian, those are the words that you have used to describe the minister of the FCT. Yes. And that those who will imagine that, what if he had consulted security agencies and they have decided on this? Have you tried as much as possible to reach out? If you say reaching out to him has not ever yielded any result, say based on your past or the antecedent or your relationship with the frosty one with the minister, have you tried to reach out to any of the
minister and I have only ever interacted. There have been things I've come to either your channel, your television station, or Arise and said the minister should do A, B, C, or D. Does them after he hears me there. But most ministers, regardless of who, because FCT is unique, it does not have a governor. We, the 3 elected members, are the representatives of the people. We are the only ones the people have, and I am the highest one. Every single minister, regardless of his personal feelings, have always had meetings with them every month to hear what the people need, what they want, what they think, what they feel. This is the only government that's never, ever done so. But that notwithstanding, the people still have some rights. Every person you talk to, my phone is full of complaints. And my attitude is, it's the usual style of the minister. So, I'm imagining that the other members of the National Assembly representing the FCT, they also have their own views about the decision of the minister. Have you consulted with them? No. You don't know what they're thinking? I don't know what they're thinking.
One
just decamped to APC, who's decided that what the minister has to offer is more important. The other one was already in APC. Most of the time, they are mute. They don't express any opinion of any kind.
You don't think that they may be in the majority?
They may be, but I'm still the highest elected person. They may be. The people reached out to me, and I can show you. You will see all the protests everywhere, all the complaints, rather than protests, but complaints everywhere. The truth is that this whole curfew is a great inconvenience to the people of the FCT. Without cause, it is.
Do you even have the phone number of the FCT minister?
Of course I do, and he has my number too.
You sure you have the right number?
I know I have the right number. I have called him before. He didn't answer, and I kept calling and calling till he picked up the phone. I do have the number. And then he proceeded to yell at me. We yelled at each other for a few minutes, and we put the phone down. Then the Senate president now intervened and did a 3-way call, and we resolved the issue, because for me, that issue was urgent. And that's why I called him. And I was determined that he was going to pick it up. I said, are you in your office? Let me come and see you. He said, no, don't come here. That was the conversation, as if I was going to harm him.
I mean, could it be that, you're, I'm imagining maybe this could work. You are older.
So?
And maybe, I'm just imagining, maybe there is a soft landing in all of this matter, and a way, maybe I could even help to resolve the matter between both of you. So, because he sits right in the same chair you were sitting right there. If he was on this program, maybe as the elderly one, you might also find some wise way of working things around. If you have your younger fellow working in the same jurisdiction who is not willing to shift grounds, maybe there might be a way you could work around. Let's assume that the minister is your younger brother.
if the union minister was my younger brother, I assure
it's for the sake of the FCT.
He wouldn't be, exactly, he wouldn't behave this way. See, I am only about governance. Where you can see the letters I have written to the minister, all of them telling him I'm willing to work with him. The minister is not willing to work with anybody. Not willing to work with FCDA people. He's not willing to work with the mandate sector. Not willing to work with anybody. The minister thinks governance is about what he alone thinks and what he alone wants. Unfortunately, even if you were to resolve even this issue with the minister, and he says, okay, no more curfew, he's going to the next day, he will not consult anybody about, he will not ask FCDA, this thing, why is it that like that? Why can I not do this? For them to explain to him, no, you can't do this for this reason, for this reason, for this reason. So because he's not consulting anybody, he does as he wants.
Have you reached out to the president?
I have written to him too.
Because the president is the actual governor of
Exactly, and I have written him a few letters, also no response.
Maybe you are the problem here.
Yes, maybe I am.
Because if the president is not responding to you,
am,
if the FCT minister is not responding to you, maybe you are the problem. I'm just imagining.
Let me tell you, Sheon, obviously we are dealing with governance that believes that the only people that should matter are those elected under their platform. If you're not, it doesn't matter. The truth is that I do represent the people of the Federal Capital Territory. I am the most accessible person to them. If there's a problem, I have a file this big from the people of the FCT. I titled it, FCT Honorable Minister Wike, in case an opportunity ever comes for me to say, this is what the people of the FCT, in 3 years, that opportunity has never come.
If you saw him right now, what would you be telling him?
I would tell him that you need to work with the representatives of the people. These are the needs of the people. And regardless of everything that's happening tomorrow, I expect tomorrow is not, you will see the turnout. This is only a local government election, and 1.3 million voters went to collect their cards. It shows that FCT people, for them, this local government election is personal. The truth is most people are apathetical about local government. It's only during national elections that they actually register this much. In the last national election, they didn't even register this much. So you will find out whether what I have been saying, that the people of FCT are not pleased. The president has been my friend for 40 years. I have no reason to work against him. I want what is best for the people of the Federal Capital Territory.
So you are not working with him?
I try to, but I can only work with him in as much as the interests of the people are protected.
Maybe joining his political party?
That will never happen, sir.
Really?
No, it will not.
Well, you have a family relationship.
Yes, I do. And I'm one of the founders of APC in FCT.
What happened?
I believe in governance that is about the rule of law. FCT, APC has not been about the rule of law. The current chairman is running for his 4th term, where the law says only twice. So there are many, many issues that made me decide that this obviously does not align with my political views, in spite of the fact that we built lots of people that are with me also were in APC with me. It's not personal. It's about governance and about people.
You and your stand, you're one of the 15 lawmakers, and I hope that my producer can bring the faces of those of you who voted against the version of the Electoral Act, Section 60 sub 3, that was passed. Senator Iyanaya Baribe, yourself, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, Senator Victor Ume, and quite a number of you, 15 of you, 55 voted for the version that was passed in the electronic transmission and the proviso that a lot of people seem not to have agreed with. And I said I was going to show the faces of those of you who the legislature in the night.
No. What we voted for was that, see, what was brought to us originally said electronic transmission only without proviso. What we were voting for was that the proviso should be removed. We wanted the proviso.
You voted against the proviso. You wanted it to be explicit, transmitted electronically, real time, and as much as simultaneously with an IRF should also be recognized.
Exactly.
Those are the positions.
Those were our positions. We were voting for the proviso to be removed or kept. We wanted the proviso removed, and the proviso was that when there's no internet, the forms EC8A should be used to collect the results. We felt that there is internet everywhere. There's no place you go to that there's no POS. So and if you listen, even then in 2023, Mahmoud said on BBC, I can send it to you, that 97% of this country is covered. So there's no reason. And the way the BVACs work, when you press send, even if it doesn't go at that time, when you go to, it's like an SMS. It will show the time it was sent and it will go. So there's no reason for the proviso, in our opinion. But as you say, the majority will have their way, but the minority will have their say. And we did have our say.
What is the grounds? Why? It's democracy. And like you said, majority will have their way, minority will have your say. But why do you, is there a lack of understanding of this principle that makes you to agitate about this?
Which one? The
fact that majority voted.
For 2 years, the Electoral Committee, both houses, working with INEC, working with many CSOs like PLAC, Yaga, Africa, all of us. For 2 years, we worked and came up with the version we brought, which was the votes have been transmitted electronically, no proviso. So we also had public hearings all over the country. That was the wish of the people. And that was our objection, was that this matter had been thoroughly examined for 2 years by every zone, the 2 committees, everywhere we have looked at it. And this is what they came up with. Now, why we want to take it back to practically the way it was in 2022, we didn't agree. I certainly didn't agree.
Were you frustrated?
A little bit, yes. I was frustrated because I feel that we can be so much more. We're supposed to be the giant of Africa, yet we lag behind in everything. I have been in Ghana once. When I went, they were having elections. I wasn't even a Ghanaian. I could move around. I observed the elections, everything. So when little countries can do so much more and we don't, it shows a lack of political will, not that we cannot. And that's what frustrates me.
That's why you joined the ADC, and you and your friends in the ADC want the Tinubu government and the APC out by all means.
Because we will keep trying. I'm not saying necessarily that I guarantee that the next government is going to be better if it's not the Tinubu government. But the human spirit, when it's displeased with what it has, always tries to improve on it by looking for something else, and will always keep trying until it gets it right. And that is really the main reason I'm here. There's some days I'm frustrated enough to say, you know what, forget this place. But it's the only country we've got. I carry only one passport, and I would like my children to live in this country and be proud Nigerians, rather than ones that were always being bad-mouthed from everywhere. And really, we can be so much more.
Senator Ireti Kingibe, not officially or legally married to the Minister of the FCT, but for some reasons politically, they seem to be...
I object, and I object again.
I overheard your colleagues call you the wife or the husband.
They didn't call me the wife. They call me Michi Wike. That does not mean a wife. Whatever it is, since Wike is a man and I cannot be his husband, I don't want to hear that, please.
But you're a good friend.
I would like to be his good friend, except that he's so lawless.
Thank you, Senator Ireti Kingibe, FCT Senator. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you.
And I wish.
So guys, even Showore himself has come out to say that Tinubu government has trapped INEC. Amopitan cannot give Nigerians free, fair election. That is what Showore is saying. Now guys, what is happening in Nigeria and what is going to happen in 2027 is going to be unbelievable. The end of democracy is going to come under Tinubu's leadership, because Tinubu does not care. I mean, this man does not care about what's happening. Now let me take you through this article. Tinubu government has trapped INEC. Amopitan cannot give Nigerians free, fair elections, and this person, and he went ahead to say, human rights activist and former presidential candidate Showore has said that Nigeria Independent National Electoral, that is INEC, is effectively trapped under the control of the administration of Bola Tinubu. Showore noted that INEC chairman Amopitan could not do anything different from his predecessor, as he lacks the independence to deliver free, fair and credible elections to Nigerians. And then he went ahead to say that speaking at a news leadership dialogue program on Friday, Showore said that the structure of Nigerian electoral system makes it nearly impossible for any INEC chairman to operate independently of the ruling government. I met him, Amopitan, in person, and it's by miracle that Amopitan will be able to do something different from his predecessor, because it is a system. Showore said he questions the neutrality of the Electoral Commission, stressing key appointment within the Commission and security apparatus of the INEC chairman were made and remain under the influence of the ruling party. So guys, this is what Showore is saying, that Tinubu is the one that appointed them, and they know why they appointed them, and every other person working under INEC and the rest of them, they were all appointed by the Tinubu's government just to favor Tinubu. So there's no way you expect them to achieve anything more than what they plan to achieve, that is to rig the election. So guys, this is what is happening in Nigeria today. It's really so pathetic that the country is going down at all costs because we have people who don't care of the consequence of their actions. Now, this person said, because of what? Why would it be tomorrow of all this that this election day in Abuja that this has to happen? Nigeria is finished. So this person is saying, why would we get there to place curfew in the FCT? Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you.